Hi there, this is Anup. Today we are going to talk about how to block ChatGPT using Microsoft Defender Endpoint. Can we do it effectively with web filtering, or do we need to use custom indicators in Microsoft Defender for Endpoint? And what are the considerations before implementing this? Is there any limitation? And we'll also look into some of the licensing requirements, and then we will have an end-to-end demo including the prerequisites, etc. So don't skip it. Let's go ahead and check this out. So let's quickly check how to block ChatGPT using Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. There are different ways to do this. In this particular video, we are going to talk about custom indicators. How to use custom indicators to block ChatGPT. So many organizations started blocking ChatGPT for some or other reasons, and we can use Microsoft Defender for Endpoint to block these kind of communications, etc. from Windows devices and probably Windows servers as well. We'll see what are the prerequisites, how to enable network protection, and then we will talk about custom indicators, and then we'll have a demo, and in the demo we will see how to implement this from server side and what is the experience from end user side. Now let's go to the next slide. This is very busy slide. I'm not going to read through all the text in this slide, but let's understand what is custom indicators and how this is useful in this particular scenario. Let's consider the case where you have web content filtering categorization for your proxy servers. Normally using your proxy servers, you do web content filtering categorization, and in that categorization there could be some issues. Some of the sites might not be part of the correct category. Some sites might be wrongly categorized. So there could be some issues like that initially with all the proxy servers or web content filtering, categorization, etc. So if you are in that kind of a situation and your web content filtering is set to block all AI chatbots as well as the plugins, one example is ChatGPT, but it is not working as expected. Probably this is a hypothetical scenario for now. Let's assume that this is a hypothetical scenario. Now let's try to understand indicators, how indicators are going to help you to overcome this kind of a situation. Before that, let's understand what is indicators. So there are different types of indicators, but in general terms, an indicator of compromise IOC indicates a computer or a network intrusion has occurred. In Microsoft Defender for Endpoint terms, how do we define indicators? Indicators are referred as indicators of compromise and less often as custom indicators. You can define indicators with specific actions for each entities. Here entities are file hashes, IP addresses, URLs/domains, certificates. On this video, we are going to concentrate on URL or domains, as you can see over here. Using this option in Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, organizations can create custom indicators that helps to define the detection, prevention, and exclusion of URLs or domains. So in this scenario, we are taking the example of ChatGPT. Let's go to the next slide. Let's check what are the prerequisites for this. Anti-malware client version must be 4.18.1906 or later. That is the first prerequisite. And there are licensing requirements as we discussed in our last videos about Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. You can check all those videos over here if you click on the I button in YouTube. It is important to understand the licensing terms over here. You can purchase standalone Defender for Endpoint Plan 1 or standalone Defender for Endpoint Plan 2. But this is available as bundle also. If you purchase Microsoft 365 E3 or Microsoft 365 E5, this comes automatically with this bundle. Also, there is a note over here. If you have M365 E3 or E5, make sure to set up your Defender for Endpoint capabilities. Other prerequisite is you need to enable network protection component from the client side. You can use Intune and other methods to enable this on the client side, Windows Server or Windows Client operating system. We have already created a video explaining this, and you can check the I button in YouTube to get more details about this. So this is how you ensure that from the client side network protection is enabled. This is the value you need to look into. It is enabled with block option. Let's go to the next slide. Let's understand what are the limitations of MDE, and let's discuss about some tips. When you create indicators, custom indicators, warn and block work only with Windows devices at the moment. This is the current status. Do check the description of the video to get the latest information on this limitation. As you can see over here, it supports block execution feature only for Windows devices at this point of time. Other limitation is maximum indicators that you can create is 15,000. And there is a caution over here. This is clearly documented in Microsoft documentation, and you will get all the links in the description of the video, so do check that out. Defining exclusions. This is not for our scenario, but normally indicators are used for exclusion purpose. If you want to exclude some users from restrictions, that is where mostly indicators are used. If you are using indicators for that, then you need to remember that this action reduces the level of protection offered by Defender for Endpoint and Microsoft Defender Antivirus. Use exclusions as last resort and make sure to define only the exclusions that are necessary, because most of the exclusions override other settings of Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. So you need to be very cautious about this exclusion scenario. But over here we are not excluding, but we are blocking the execution using the indicator. So it is not relevant for this particular scenario where we are discussing about blocking ChatGPT, etc. Let's go to the next slide. In this slide we are going to talk about reporting. If you go to Microsoft 365 Defender portal and reports node, you would be able to see a report called Web Protection Report under Endpoints. These reports help you to get more information about web activities, web threats detected within your organization. So as you can see, there are two examples over here. One is, if you look at the color code, custom indicator color code is here. That means attempt to access malicious URL. ChatGPT is not malicious URL, but this is just for testing scenario. And we want to use indicators to block ChatGPT in this particular example. Attempt to access malicious URL, that is another report, web threat summary report. And if you look at custom indicators color code over here, you can see that is the threat category highlighted over here in this particular report. If you go to details of this report, you will get the computer name, etc. And if you go to indicators, you will get the indicators details. We'll see all these in demo, so don't skip it. Let's go to the demo now. Okay, so let's try to check how to block ChatGPT using Microsoft Defender using custom indicators. I have logged into Microsoft 365 Defender security.microsoft.com, and from there I have gone to the settings option over here. If you scroll down, you will get a settings option over here. Click on that settings option. Once you are there in settings, click on endpoints. From the endpoint, you can scroll down a bit to reach indicators. So this is one way of blocking ChatGPT. For example, indicators, and if you go to URL domain, you can block with URL and you can block with IP address as well. So there are two things we need to do. One is IP address and the other one is URL or domain, because some of the plugins of ChatGPT are using IP address, a particular IP address range. So we can can block that particular IP address range, and then you can block the access of that ChatGPT URL. So let's try to add the URL first by clicking on add items over here. I have added the URL, that is chat.openai.com, and then I'm going to give the title ChatGPT, and I have entered the domain details, title, and then description, and you can set a expiry note over here. If you want to expire this rule, you can do that, but I'm going to go with never. That is the default one. Check the stats to understand the impact. If you click on show the stats, you can see it is registered on this particular date and expires on this particular date, etc. Registration contacts, all those details are available there. I'm going to close this. Okay, click on next to continue. There are 4 options over here. Allow is the default one. By default it is allowed. You can audit it, you can check how many users are using it, etc. from your organization's network. Other option is one, and that is available only for Windows devices, and the other one is block execution. This is also only available for Windows devices as per this one, and block execution is only available for Windows devices. So I'm going to go with one first and then check what is going to happen. If you hover over I button over here, you would be able to see bypass duration option. How often should users be warned about this indicator? The default option is always. I'm going to stick with that. User notification custom URL. Probably you can provide the custom URL over here. So I have provided the custom notification URL. The users can go over there and check out. When you click on next, and then if you want to generate an alert, you can perform historical matching. You can do that also for 30 days or 60 days, etc. And the alert would be categorize alerts into 4: informational, low, medium, and high. And then you can have different set of categories over here and recommended action as well. So I'm not going to go with generate alerts for now. Click on next. Device groups, all organization devices. That is what I'm going to do now, because I don't have any device group created in Defender. That is why this option is not available, but I'm going to go with all devices in this test tenant. Okay, click on next, and then in the summary you can check what are the options you have set: indicator details, response action, action settings, and alert details, etc. Once you're fine with that, click on the submit button. It's done. Now the rule is created. As you can see, you have all the options over here. You can also see the title, all devices, and then action, etc., etc., URL details, etc. If you click on this item over here, it will open up the settings like this, and then you can go over here and change if you want. If you want to change from 1 to block execution, you can do that. Generate alerts, you can do that, and then this will enable the save button over here. I'm going to add another item over here by clicking on add item. So click on that, and then going to add the domain instead of the URL. Indicator type is domain, it says, and I'm going to give a title. Okay, I have provided the description, title, and domain. Expiry, I'm going to set never, and click on next. Continue. I am going to say warning. Is that what we need? These two are only for Windows devices, as we discussed last time. Now click on next to continue, and in the action, I'm not going to provide anything over here. Bypass duration is set as always, so it will show the warning always. I'm going to click on next, and this is scoped to all the devices, and click on next. This is the summary, as you can see over here. Domain details are added over here, and then all the other details. Click on submit to continue, and that is done now. To make the web protection work, you need to enable one more setting, that is from settings again, and then go to endpoints. In the advanced features, go down a bit, and you need to enable custom network indicators. So that is enabled now. To make this indicator work, you need to go to advanced features and enable custom network indicators, and click on save preferences. Preferences are saved now. Now let's quickly check the things from the client side, whether the prerequisites are met or not. That is the first thing. We can use PowerShell command to do that. So we have deployed network protection policy to this particular device, and you can see the network protection is enabled and the value is 1. That means enabled and it is blocked. When I try to open chat.openai.com, it is blocking me with this particular message. This content is blocked. For your protection, your organization is not allowing you to access resources or content posted by chat.openai.com. So it is a warning settings we have created from the server side. That is why it has two options: go back and allow. If I click on allow, then the administrator will get notified, probably over here. You'll see that in a bit. Going to click on allow and see what is happening. Okay, so now it says blocked content, but it allowed me to access. Now let's go back to Microsoft 365 Defender portal and go back to indicators. In the indicators, click on the item you want to change, and from the warning I want to change it to block execution. Now I have changed both the indicators to block. Block execution is the command you can see in the action. That is what we need for the next test scenario on the client end, on the client side. Now let's quickly check what is happening at the client end. Web protection policy we have changed from want to block. So the domain which we have mentioned over there is chat.openai.com. So open that and see what is happening. It says this website is blocked by your organization. Contact your administrator for more information. It is a Defender Smart Screen page. Okay, go back. Let's launch Chrome and check what is happening over there. Chat.openai. For your protection, admin is not allowing you to access content from chat.openai. Okay, over here you can see this message when you open the Chrome browser. What I'm going to do is to clear browsing data. Let's launch it again. Chat.openai.com. It says access to chat.openai was denied. Don't have authorization to view this page. HTTP error 403. And over here you would be able to see a notification stating this content is blocked by IT admin. That means you are not allowed to access this particular website from Chrome as well. Let's quickly check the reports over here. Go to reports over here in the Microsoft 365 Defender portal and then go to web protection under endpoint. So you will get this particular report. For example, if I go over here and endpoints web protection, this is where you will get this particular report for web threat detection over time. That is one report where you can see different color codes. Custom indicator has one hit, as you can see over here, and then unknown is one. Those are two color codes available for now. One attempt to access malicious URL. Okay, it is not malicious URL, but we use indicators to block ChatGPT, for example, and that is why it shows under malicious URL report custom indicator, because we use the custom indicator. If you go to details over here, you will get more details on this. Okay, click on details and over here you would be able to see access count, logs and machines, all those details. If you click on that, you will get the details over here, URL details and computer name over here. You can drill down more about the URLs, etc. But for this test scenario, we have only one URL and one device. So that means if I go to endpoints over here and then if I click on indicators, you can see two indicators which I created and both of them are working. We will cover web content filtering later in the next video probably, so stay tuned. Now that you have seen all the details about Microsoft Endpoint for Defender feature to block ChatGPT for your organization, let me know in the comments, is this the effective way, or do you think web filtering or some other method to block this using firewall rules or something like that. Hope this was helpful. Thank you all for watching. See you around.